let's start off by introducing yourself, and then a little bit about your background, and then your character, I guess, and a little bit about their background. And I would start ladies first. So.
Hi, my name is Erica Durham. I'm originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I just graduated from Penn State University, and I will be playing Sarah in Ragtime. And Sarah's kind of a very complicated character. She's in love with Cole House, who is a ragtime piano player, and it ends up that she ends up leaving him because he's cheating on her, unfortunately, and she has a baby by him, and that sort of takes off on events with her and Cole House, and whether or not they're going to continue to love each other and be together, and what their American dream is.
Okay.
I'm Tony Humrichouser. This is my 23rd year at Wagon Wheel. This is I'm probably in my 50-plus production here. I grew up in Detroit, Michigan, went to undergrad at Western Michigan University, went to graduate school in Providence, Rhode Island, and now I reside in New York City. And I work as a director and actor in New York City. And I play Tata in Ragtime, and Tata is a Jewish immigrant, Latvian immigrant, that arrives with his daughter after his wife's passing and is living the American dream. He starts in the tenements and then works his way up and through a lot of challenges and a lot of racism and a lot of adversity, and it's very topical, right? What's happening now in the world, right? And the show takes place in 1906, and here we are in 2016, and 110 years later, and it's the same story, just a different decade, different century.
Okay. For the general people who might not know too much about Ragtime and such one, give me an overall story of what the show's about and how your characters tie into that. Because I understand there's three families in the show, and
right. And what it is it's three different groups in the show. There are the affluent families from New Rochelle that represent the people that have made it in America. There's the African American community that are dealing with their own challenges, and then there's the immigrants that are dealing with their own challenges. So these three groups are anchored by real historical characters. You have Stanford White, you have Henry Ford, you have Emma Goldman,
Booker T.
Washington. Emma Goldman, who's, these are all iconic characters for each one of these communities, and they kind of weave and tell the history of what is happening in the world using these characters as devices. So it's a historical drama with beautiful storylines that are fictionalized, right?
No, the originated on Broadway in 1996, right?
That's right.
But it's based on an older book or something, or
that's right. It's based on the novel Ragtime by Doctorow, and it was very popular in the 80s. They made a film version of it in the late 80s that was incredibly successful, and it kind of went to sleep, and then 1995 they recorded a concept album, and from the concept album there was a Toronto production, and then it went to Broadway in 96. There was a revival subsequently. How many years ago was that?
I think that was in 2008 or something like that.
So and that was very successful as well. There's been a concert version at Lincoln Center, and as a matter of fact, they just announced they're going to be doing a concert version of Ragtime on Ellis Island this summer.
Wow.
So that'll be it's kind of, and it's a very important story that needs to be told and retold because of the lessons that we can learn from our past and our history, right?
And you mentioned, and that was one of the questions about how, it's set in 1906, but we face some of the same issues today with talking about building the wall and some immigrants not being in, and there's all these other issues. And I mean, how does the show explore those issues, and will some people find it controversial, or should it appeal to everyone kind of, or?
I think it'll definitely appeal to everyone.
Absolutely.
Yes, because I think everyone has a moment where they felt oppressed or something like that in their lives. And I know that especially as an African American woman, watching this show, it was kind of mind-blowing to me how much of it still applies today. And I think just with the topic of immigration and what Tate goes through in this show, it's just it's sad and a little bit scary that it still deals with it, but I think that this is a show that really sheds light on those stories and makes you see it from the other perspective and into that perspective.
And at the heart of it, I think these people, no matter what challenges they're facing, they really want to believe in the American
Yes.
dream. They want to believe in freedom and liberty and what those things really mean. And then there's the people in the show that are stereotypical Americans that take advantage of the American dream or have lost sight of it. So it ends. It's a very inspirational story,
Yes.
and it helps you take heart in the American dream.
And from what I read, a lot of characters undergo a kind of a change and metamorphosis in this show. I guess how, without giving away too much, how do your characters, I guess, change or?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Yeah, I know.
for Sarah.
Don't want to give away too
It
much.
is a tough one. It is, yeah, and you can't really
Say, yeah.
because it would give a lot of away the pop points. I can say from the outside perspective, what's lovely is it is Sarah and Cole House. It's a love story.
Yes.
And their love transcends time, which is beautiful. I think quite beautiful. And I think, from my perspective, it is an example of someone succeeding at the American dream, faced with multiple challenges, and he succeeds regardless of what other people have tried to impose upon him, and he's able to live the American dream.
Okay. Now another show, it's Ragtime. It's kind of Ragtime is a form of music. So how is talk a little bit about the music and how it affects the story, or how does it tell the story?
I feel like music in Ragtime is such an important thing. It's such a beautiful, sweeping, epic score, and most of it is sung through. And I just think that, yeah, it's just this beautiful, epic piece of theater, and the music is just to die for, and the orchestra sounds amazing.
And Ragtime itself was a true American style of music. There's a lot of yearning in the music. There's a lot of dissonance in it. There's a lot of nobody had heard anything like it. It's a precursor to jazz, right? It's a true art form, basically taken from the African American community and then homogenized, for want of a better word, and then it became a national sensation. And that change of music was really difficult for a lot of people because they were used to hearing things in a very orderly fashion, and then you start throwing augmented chords into the mix, and some conflict in the music, and then you hear some resolution. So the music itself is storytelling. It's quite beautiful to listen to, right? And I think many songs in the show imitate a lot of famous ragtime songs. Scott Joplin, music is, you can hear Scott Joplin hangs throughout the entire score. So it's pretty terrific.
Okay. Are there certain numbers or songs that stand out to you? Do you have, like, I don't want to say favorites, but
I love singing Wheels of a Dream. It's one of my favorite songs from this musical, and getting to do it is incredible. But it's just talking about the American dream and that want of a better life. And I think it's just such a hopeful song, especially where there's a lot of sadness sometimes in this musical. It's just very hopeful.
And there's a lot of optimism in Wheels of a Dream. I think Wheels of a Dream probably is the theme of the show. I think it's the heart of the show, really. And it comes out of a pure love, a man's love for his partner and their child, and idealizing what life can be like, and embracing that. And regardless of what is presented to them, their child ends up benefiting from that dream.
Okay. And then I know I keep thinking of odds in questions, but the story is kind of set in New York City. How would the story, like, set in New York City, I guess, apply to maybe a smaller town like Warsaw? Because, a lot of Indiana people, could they still get the same themes, the same feelings, the same kind of idea, or?
Absolutely, I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the tenements where the immigrants lived, it just represents poverty, and we witness that in our daily lives. And the challenges of affluent people, a few affluent people having control over the number of us. The top 1%, right? And they represent the original robber barons. Represented. You have Henry Ford, who believed in the American dream and yet oppressed the entire workforce, right? So it's it's a reminder of our history, right? And
Yeah.
I think everyone's going to find something that they can relate to in the story.
Yes.
I don't think there is anything in the story that is that people wouldn't understand. I think will inherently understand what ragtime represents.
Okay, and then I guess I've been asking the question lately, but when was the first time you saw a production of Ragtime, and were you ever in a previous production of it, or was this your first time? And when you saw a previous production of it, what made you want to be a part of it eventually?
This is my first time doing Ragtime, and I've actually never seen it.
Okay.
And that was a big thing for me because the first time I was really introduced to it was, of course, in college. That we had a whole class where we just studied different musicals, and this was one of them. And I just remembered thinking about how visual this piece is, and getting to do it really connects a lot of pieces in my mind. And like we've been saying, I think it's just something that everybody can relate to in any sort of way, that all of this music is gorgeous, but just the different themes and tones that are in it, you just really feel what these people are going through, and I really appreciate that from this piece.
Okay.
I've never been involved in a production of Ragtime, but this is a dream role for me. I saw the original production in New York. I saw the national tour. I saw the Chicago production, and I thought, eventually I would like to play that role. And then Scott presented me with the opportunity last year and asked me if I wanted to come back and do it. And so here I am. I'm very lucky. It is a dream role, truly.
Yeah, and then I feel like I'm missing some, since I have never seen it or whatever. So, what is there stuff you would like people to know about this show before they come? Something that I'm not touching on. I feel like there's something I'm missing here. I've tried to read about it, but there's only so much you can read about to get the.
It is probably one of the most beautiful scores written in the past 20 years. It harkens back to a traditional musical comedy.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
In the way that the music, there's an excellent book written by Terrence McNally.
Mm-hmm.
Aarons and Flaherty have written just a stunning score. I think it's their masterwork of all their scores, and I think audiences are going to enjoy it. And how perfect for a 4th of July weekend to spend time with Ragtime, I think.
Cool. I think that's it then.